Call the meeting to order. Can I have roll call, please?
Mayor Tanella, he's on vacation, so he won't be with us. Deputy Mayor Sekela.
Here.
Councilman Cabarrus.
Here.
Councilwoman Peterson.
Here.
Councilman Vargo.
Here.
All rise for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Adequate notice of this meeting was duly provided to the Verona Cedar Grove Times and the Star Ledger by email and published in an annual schedule of meetings, December 28th. This is 2017, but is that the right date?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
the day it was published. yeah.
Respectfully filed with the Township Clerk and posted on the Public Bulletin Board in the Municipal Building Lobby in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act. Item 2 on the agenda is extraordinary business of the Township Council. We have two proclamations and some certificates of achievements, which we are going to be doing first. So I'm going to go over to the podium, and we're going to start with our Autism Awareness Proclamation. Good evening, everybody. It's April. You wouldn't be able to tell from the snow outside, but April is Autism Awareness Month, and each year at the beginning of April, we have a proclamation that we make to declare both locally and nationally that April is Autism Awareness Month, and we have Mrs. Trupia who comes to our meetings. Welcome. And I'm going to read the proclamation, and I'm going to ask her to come up here and accept it on behalf of her organization and say a few words. Whereas autism is a pervasive developmental disorder affecting the social, communication, and behavioral skills of those affected by it. And whereas more health professionals become proficient in diagnosing autism, more children are being diagnosed on the autistic spectrum, resulting in rates as high as 1 in 41 in New Jersey. And whereas it is well documented that if individuals with autism receive treatment early in their lives, it is often possible for those individuals to lead significantly improved lives. And whereas individuals with autism often require a lifetime of specialized and community support services to ensure their health and safety and to support families' resilience as they manage the psychological and financial effects that autism presents. And whereas Autism New Jersey is spearheading an awareness effort in order to educate parents, professionals, and the general public about autism and its effects. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Mayor Peter Tanella does hereby proclaim April 2018 as National Autism Awareness Month in the Township of Cedar Grove, and urge all employees and residents to participate in our municipality's National Autism Awareness Month activities in order to become better educated on the subject of autism spectrum disorders. Ms. Trupia?
Thank you very much. And hello everyone, just a few quick words. I'd like to thank the Town Council for once again declaring April as Autism Awareness Month in Cedar Grove. Today is actually, April 2nd is Worldwide Autism Awareness Day. And the purpose of the initiative is for early detection so that children can receive services as early as possible, and also to promote understanding, acceptance, and inclusion in the community. I'd like to thank Catherine Wolverton and Francine Falcone of the Cedar Grove Public Library, who is once again partnering with my group, the Realize Group, to host a community autism awareness event this April 18th, 7 p.m. at the Public Library. This event actually started in 2012, and I see that some of you are here for your Eagle Scout, earning your Eagle Scout award. This started with a member of our community who chose for to earn his Eagle Scout, he chose autism awareness, and that was how this event started, and the Realize Group and the Cedar Grove Public Library kept it going from 2012 till today. So interesting that you're here tonight, and congratulations. I'd also like to thank the Cedar Grove Public School System for embracing the autism awareness curriculum, and invite all of you to attend our community event on April 18th, 7 p.m. We'll be watching the movie Swim Team. It's about a New Jersey swim team whose members are all on the autism spectrum. And we have some exciting new additions to the event as well. So any adolescent or adult is welcome. It's free, and it's a free event, and educators can receive a certificate of professional development for attending as well. And lastly, and most importantly, I'd like to acknowledge the children and adults who live with challenges that autism presents every day, and their families, and acknowledge them for their perseverance and determination. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Trupio.
Thank you.
Okay, our next item on the agenda is to recognize Matt Kniff and Chris Handel, who are both here today. They have just accomplished the rank of Eagle Scout in their Boy Scout troop and Troop 65. And we're here, I was at their Court of Honor, which I think was March 20th, at that time, I presented them on behalf of the town council. I presented them with certificates of achievement. But we did want to bring them here today because it is such an amazing thing to reach the level of Eagle Scout, and such a incredible journey that these young men went on to accomplish this, that we wanted to bring them here today so that we can congratulate them and thank them for the service to the community that they've provided. Becoming an Eagle Scout, as I said, is no easy task. There are a long line of requirements that need to be done in order to get to that rank. As you work your way up through the Boy Scouts, you start at tenderfoot, and then you go to second class rank, first class, and then there's star and life rank before you can even begin working towards your Eagle Scout rank. And along the lines of becoming getting a higher rank from rank to rank, there are certain requirements that you need to meet. There are certain tests that you have to accomplish. There's Scoutmaster conferences that you have to complete, where you talk about your journey so far and what your goals are within the Scouts. And I have a son right now who's in Troop 65, and he's working his way up along the ranks. So I do know how difficult a journey it is, and I do know that as you get higher and higher in your ranks, that the requirements that you have in terms of leadership, service, and community work is really it really grows and grows, and that really culminates when you get to the point where you're close to becoming an Eagle, and you have to complete an Eagle Scout project, and that's something that I think Mrs. Trupia hit on briefly, where there's a community service project that is more than just your ordinary going to clean sweep on June 10th and sweeping up the park. I mean, it's a major thing. It has to have pre-approval. You have to submit plans. You have to have Scoutmaster conferences. You have to have the National Council look at it and make sure that or the Northern New Jersey Council, I should say, look at it and make sure that it's acceptable. And then you have to go to work, and it's a lot of work. And I can tell you that both of these young men did an incredible job. Mac, his Eagle Scout project was putting bike racks up around town, that including the concrete pads. and putting them in places where people who are riding their bikes and parking their bikes and locking them have a place to do that. And if you're riding your bike around town and you're a family member and you lock it up on a bike rack, chances are we have MAC to thank for that. And as far as Chris goes, Chris did an incredible project over at Morgan's Farm, where he had a fundraising effort. He raised money. He purchased a shed, a 10-by-10 shed, and all the materials to build it. And I think there was something close to 180 hours worth of manpower went into it. And in the end, it benefits both Morgan's Farm Stand and the Cedar Grove Historical Society. So we want to bring them here just to say thank you, congratulations for a job well done, and keep up the good work. Would either of you like to come up and say a few words? You don't feel like you're obligated, but if you'd like to, you can.
Yeah, I'll come up.
Okay, come on.
I would just like to say thank you for town council. I know I talked to Mr. Tucci, Ms. Peterson. They both helped me through this journey, and I really appreciate everything and all the time that they put in, and just everyone that has come and supported and helped me through this journey. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
I'd like to thank the town of Cedar Grove too, especially Mr. Tucci. They got me a lot of funding for my project and saved me a lot of money and took a lot of work off my back, so I really appreciate it.
Congratulations. Thank you. Council have any comments?
Well said.
Okay. So for our next presentation is to our wrestlers who did such a fantastic job. And I'm going to ask Councilman Vargo to come up and give me an assist on that.
Got it.
All right, let me start by saying what an incredible honor it is to be up here presenting these two young individuals, fine young gentlemen, with these certificates. For those of you who don't know, wrestling is very near and dear to my heart. I grew up wrestling. I wrestled for 20-something years, and now I have my son wrestling in the rec program, and I had the incredible opportunity to coach him for the entire season. So we have 30 young wrestlers that have called me coach for the past year, which is a great feeling in Cedar Grove. So this is an incredible honor to be up here. You know, wrestling is a tough sport. I like to say that wrestling is a sport that takes, right? And what I mean by that, it takes willpower, it takes hard work, it will take you to places you've never pushed before, whether it's losing weight or mentally defeating your opponent. It's a sport that takes. But I will tell you this, it is also a sport that continues to give back. It will give back not only immediately with the results that these two young individuals had, but throughout the rest of your life. I can tell you just by way of an example, when I got into law school, you know, you study long hours, right? You're there 11, 12 hours a day. And I'll never forget sitting in the library and watching people leave and just knowing that I had to outwork them and just knowing that wrestling got me through it. That sitting in a library to sit and study was easy compared to what you guys went through you're in high school to win and to achieve the results that you had. I even called my wrestling coach that first year in law school, my high school wrestling coach. And now I'm out a couple of years. I called my high school wrestling coach and I said, you know, coach, this law school thing is pretty easy. When all things considered, the amount of hard work, the times you spend cutting weight, you know, wrestling back in the state tournament, everything else will come to you with what you learned in wrestling. So it is a sport that takes, but you will continue to get back for the rest of your lives with wrestling. I want to congratulate the coach. Our coaches are here and the team because, you know, wrestling while you're out there on the mat and it's just you don't get there without your team, right? You know, your team's out there pushing you every day. Your team is out there supporting you. Your team gets you through those practices. Your team gets you through the cutting the weight, which is never fun. I don't know if you guys had to do that, but you know it's not fun. And I promise, I said this earlier, I promise, we won't be rolling out a wrestling mat up here, all right? Although I'm slightly afraid of both of you. So, you know, drilling down to why we're here today. We're here to honor two really great student athletes, Anthony Clarizio and Joe McCarthy. And, you know, we have the honor to be here with the number 1 and number 2 most winningest wrestlers in Cedar Grove history, which is just unbelievable. To have both in the room at the same time, graduating the same year, is pretty cool. I'm going to say a little bit about each one of you, and then I'll ask you to come up. I have some certificates for you. So Joe, whether you know this or not, I've been following your career for at least the past 3 years. So I would text your mom and say, "Hey, how did Joe do?" So I would get the results before they were online, because I really followed your career. I knew who you were wrestling. I was pulling for you every step of the way, and I can tell you this, that I'm personally really proud of you. You worked hard. I saw you guys in that room when I would come in and coach the little guys afterwards. I saw you in that room. I saw you guys pushing hard every single day. So I'm personally really proud of you. You know, that's led by great family that you have, and the great coaches that you have. So I'm going to just say a couple of things about you that you already know, but just so everybody else knows. So Joe is a 4-time district champ. He is a region runner-up, and this year he won the Essex County tournament. And there's a lot of teams in that Essex County tournament. I think you won by 10-5 in the finals, somewhere around there. And it was capped off by a season of going down to the state tournament and finishing in the top 16. Now, for those of you who don't know, to get in the top 16 in the state tournament in New Jersey is incredibly difficult. Just to get down to Atlantic City, which is our state tournament, just to get down there is incredibly difficult. And then to take top 16 is even harder. You know, we're one of the few states around the country that actually have one wrestling tournament. Many other states have multiple groups for their wrestling tournaments. We have one. So to get down there and to take top 16 is an incredible accomplishment. And then to cap off your career with the number 2 winning a season in Cedar Grove history at 130 wins is an incredible feat. So if I could ask you to come up here, I got a little something for you. So what I have here is just a certificate of accomplishment here, recognizes your top 16 finish in the NJSIAA Wrestling Championship. And we all, on behalf of the town council, we want to congratulate you. So. Okay. Wasn't sure if you wanted to or not.
I just want to say thank you to the town council for recognizing me and Anthony on this. You know, it means a lot to us, and we're working very hard for this, and so just thank you.
All right, so the next wrestler, Anthony Clarizio. So the first time I met Anthony was tonight, actually, but I've also been following his career. And I'm going to tell you this, when I researched some of the things that you did, so we were provided with a list of things, of your accomplishments, so on and so forth, but I went a little bit deeper with the assistance of some of the family members around you. I learned that our career paths, our senior year, is incredibly similar. And I'm going to tell you how incredibly similar. You were a 4-time district champ, right? So was I, right? You were a 4-time Essex County champ. I was a 4-time Passaic County champ. You took 5th in the state your senior year. So did I. I believe, and now correct me if I'm wrong, when you took 5th, the guy injury defaulted against you.
Yeah.
So did I. So we scared our opponents away for 5th and 6th place, both of us, our senior year. And you have a couple more wins than me, I'll tell you that. I think I ended with 136, you have 139. And it's an incredible honor an incredible feat to be the winningest wrestler in Cedar Grove history. So while first time meeting you, we have a lot of similar paths. So I have a little something for you here as well. Guys, keep doing what you're doing. Take your next step. Everything that you learned in wrestling, make sure you apply that in life. Okay? So Anthony, if you come up here. All right, so very similar. So certificate of achievement here, Anthony Clarizio, for 5th place finish in the NJSIAA State Wrestling Championship Tournament. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, as Joe said, I just want to thank Cedar Grove Town Council for recognizing me on a great night, and that's pretty much it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Vargo. Okay, our last order of business with regard to this part of our agenda is one final proclamation. And this is a proclamation about distracted driving. Distracted driving is a serious, life-threatening practice that is preventable, and the state of New Jersey is participating in a nationwide distracted driving 2018 crackdown beginning actually yesterday through the 21st of April in an effort to raise awareness and decrease driver distraction through a combination of enforcement and education. So we have a proclamation here that says, "Be it resolved that the Township of Cedar Grove declares its support for the distracted driving 2018 crackdown, both locally and nationally, from April 1st to April 21st, 2018, and pledges to increase awareness of the dangers of distracted driving." So you'll probably hear a lot about this over the next couple of weeks. You may have heard some of it already. It's been in the newspapers that our local and our state law enforcement are going to be cracking down, and we just wanted to pledge our support in this program and ask that everybody please drive safe. Again, as the proclamation says, it's a preventable thing. All you have to do is put your phone away and write that text or read that text or make that phone call when you're pulled over or stopped or out of your car. So with that, I don't know who gets our official proclamation, Mr. Tucci, but I'll hand it back to you.
I'll send it back, I'll give it to the police
Thank you.
chief.
Okay. We move on the agenda now to item 3, approval of minutes. Let's go to Dean. Before I do that, Councilman Vargo has reminded me I should probably give everyone a minute to leave. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Councilman Vargo. Approval of minutes. Can we have a motion for items A and B, which is to consider the approval of minutes of the regular public meeting for March 5th, and to consider the approval of minutes for a special public meeting March 19th, both 2018? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman,
You want to do it? Councilman Camberos,
Yes.
Councilman Vargo,
Yes.
Councilwoman Peterson,
Abstain.
Mayor Scala, Deputy Mayor.
Yes. Item 4, public hearing. To consider adoption of pending ordinance number 18-823 to exceed the municipal budget limits and establish a cap bank.
Is there a motion?
no, you gotta open
We
it up
have
to the
to-
public first.
Open
Do we
to
have
the
to
vote.
read the ordinance more than that, or is that?
Just
that
the last statements, the last section. You have it there?
I have it somewhere.
I'll read it. I'll read it.
I have it right here.
You know, now therefore be it ordained by the Township Council of the Township of Cedar Grove in the County of Essex, the majority of the full authorized membership of this governing body affirmatively concurring that in the calendar year 2018 budget year, the final appropriation to the Township of Cedar Grove shall, in accordance with this ordinance and NJSA 40A-4-45.14, be increased by 3.5%, amounting to $412,787.06, and that the calendar year 2018 municipal budget of the Township Council of Cedar Grove be approved and adopted in accordance with this ordinance.
At this time, I'll open up the meeting for this public hearing. Are there any residents wishing to be heard on this ordinance? Seeing none, I'll close that portion of the meeting. Is there a motion?
Deputy Mayor, I move for the adoption of pending ordinance 18-823 to be published in the Verona Cedar Grove Times as a passed ordinance to take effect as prescribed by law.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Camberos,
Yes.
Councilwoman Peterson,
Yes.
Councilman Vargo,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sakala.
Yes. The meeting is now open to residents of the township wishing to be heard on any item on the agenda. Seeing none, close that portion of the meeting, and we'll move on to reports of township officials. Good evening, Mr. Tucci.
Good evening, Deputy Mayor. I have a few items this evening. First, some good news from Public Service. Everyone has seen that they've done a lot of gas work throughout the town, and I just received notice that all the roadways where they have performed gas work, except for Route 23, will be milled beginning on April 9th, and the roadways will be repaid by April the 20th. And just for the public's information, so that you know, these streets include Bentley Road, Elmwood Road, Forest Road, Franklin Street, Longview Road, and Overlook. Those are the streets that were affected, minus Route 23. I can't emphasize that enough. That's going to happen at a different time, a little bit later, more toward the summer. Also, in the packet, there are a number of water bills, water requests that were sent in to the governing body, and we'll take them one by one. The first one is on 5 Cedar Grove Parkway. The recommendation from Mr. Homa is that no adjustment be made on that water bill. I'll do them all, and then we'll want to take them individually or
No,
all
you
together?
can do them all together.
All right. Second one is on Briarwood Terrace, number 71. The recommendation is that the late fee not be waived on that one also. The third one is on 312 Ridge Road. The recommendation is that the late fees assessed not be waived on that. And the last one is on 602, 604 Pompton Avenue. There was a broken water pipe. The recommendation is to waive the sewer portion of the bill only because that portion did not go into the sewer system with a broken pipe. So the recommendation on the first three is not to waive. The last one is to waive the sewer assessments. I don't know what the council's pleasure is in that matter. That's Mr. Homa's recommendation.
Is everybody good with the recommendation of Mr. Homa?
No objection.
No objection to following the recommendations of Mr. Homa on those, Mr. Tucci. Thank you.
And the last item I'd like to talk about is snowstorms. Everybody's experienced a lot of snowstorms. We had a lot of tree damage in town. I want to thank all the residents for cooperating. Especially want to send a thanks out to Kate Hartwick and the County of Essex. Kate texts me before every storm, during every storm, and after every storm, asking me, do you need any resources? And I have to extend that thank you to the county executive because, you know, us little people don't get all the credit. You got to give the county executive some also. But he did do a great job. He made the robocalls, I know. So thank you to you and the county executive for your support just from Cedar Grove. Thank you. That's all I have.
Mr. Tucci, just one comment on the PSE&G.
Yes.
It struck me as you were reading the names that they're all located around South End
South
School.
End
Are we
of
going to
town,
let
yes.
the Board of Ed know that there's going to be a lot of work done during that period of
We're
time?
going to send this over to the superintendent so that he has a copy of it. This way he knows, and the police department obviously will be there directing the operation.
Thank you. Ms. Stutz is not here. Township Attorney, do we have a